Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Welcome to Crypto Traders Room. This is your host, Crypto Trader, aka Jonas. Hope everybody's doing well. And just a little disclaimer before we get started, and that's just to notify everyone that I'm not a licensed financial advisor. And what I do talk about in these videos is not to be used as trading or investing advice. Please do your own due diligence because you are risking your hard-earned money. So play this game at your own risk. Because it is a risk that we take. But yeah, if you're a new-time viewer, welcome. And thank you for finding us. And please don't forget to click on that subscribe button as well as the post notification. And stay connected with us on Steemit, Facebook, as well as Twitter. And if you haven't done so already, sign up for our mailing list. And you can do that by going to CryptoTradersRoom.com. And there are links at the bottom of this video. And just answer the brief questionnaire, and then we'll get your application for our general Slack chat room. And it's a great community that is growing every single day. And there's a lot of people in there sharing some technical fundamental analysis, as well as just chatting about cryptocurrency and sharing current news and events that are going on in the world. So it's a great community to kind of keep the conversation going 24/7, as long as there's somebody there. But Armando, welcome. R. Hyde, welcome. East Chan, you guys are awesome for joining me. Thank you so much. Tuesday special edition. Yes. And I talk about doing some of these spur of the moment type of live streams. And unless you click on that post notification, you might not be notified right away. But I do try to schedule these at least a half an hour before the live stream starts to kind of give YouTube enough time or Google enough time to kind of send out these notifications. Because I know sometimes they don't really go out in a timely manner. But thank you for joining. Appreciate it. But yeah, Armando, let's do this. So, title is, China's ban on ICO is really, in my opinion, only a short-term correction for major cryptos. And I emphasize major cryptos. And when I talk about major cryptos, it's the, BTC, LTC, Ether, Ethereum Classic, Monero, Zcash, Dash. Those are really the ones that I'm kind of talking about. And maybe I kind of left a couple of them out of that picture. But, there's trouble on the horizon. And it's just not with China, that these possible bans on ICOs is going to be. I'm sure other countries might adapt this. I hope they don't. For the sake of a lot of these tokens that are being created, I hope they don't, because really that's going to kill some of these cryptocurrencies. If every country out there starts banning ICOs, it's not going to be good. But major cryptos, should do pretty well. So if you're in doubt about what to really do in this crazy type of market, where to kind of maybe put your money into, really it's the top dogs. Pick the top three: BTC, LTC, and Ether. Those are really where I would put my money into. And we're going to take a look at LTC a little closer. I haven't really been covering LTC as much as I would like, and I covered it a lot in the past about trends and things like that. So we're going to kind of dig in a little deeper into LTC. Because there are some nice swings that you could actually play with LTC, and those swings are pretty significant, anywhere from $8 to $10 swings, as long as there's a correction that's happening. And as long as, it stays within that channel of the swing that we're going to kind of cover, there is money to be made as long as you're not going to overstay that trade in case it does decide to turn back around and play within that trend. TJ, welcome. Andreas, thank you so much for joining. Mike, great to see a first-time name on here. And if you're not a first-time, I do apologize. Let's see. TJ saying, thanks for China helping me to snag some sub 300 Ethereum. It's a perfect buying opportunity. It really is. And these opportunities happen. And if you've been in cryptocurrency for a while, and when I mean a while, a couple months in the cryptocurrency market, that's a long time. But ever since January, we've been seeing these type of news coming out of China, subsided for a while, really. I don't remember hearing anything about after the ETF was declined on Bitcoin. There's really no news coming out of China in regards to, them really going after exchanges and trying to ban Bitcoin and then accepting Bitcoin. It was a lot of crazy stuff that was happening within China, and that was causing a lot of volatility to really happen. But, when these opportunities happen, when this dip happens, find your favorite coin. And I mean the dominating coins that are out there, because they are providing some good buying opportunities. And I got into, OMG. Hopefully OMG, they did put out a tweet saying, they're not really affected by this China ruling on banning ICOs. So we'll see exactly how that plays out. But, currently right now, major cryptos are somewhat stable. You know, they're still not hitting their lows as they were. I mean, you know, we saw Ether, you know, on some exchanges, depending on what exchange you're on, you know, getting to 275, you know, sub 300. Bitcoin, depending on what exchange you're on, I mean, it hit 3,900 on Bitfinex, 3,900. So I don't know if anybody was able to do any type of arbitrage. I didn't have the funds available to arbitrage, but buying it at 3,900 on Bitfinex, depending on the transfer time, of course, too, transferring it to GDAX was like 4,300. Basically, I mean, there was a difference of anywhere from $200 to $400 between Bitfinex and GDAX. And if you were able to take advantage of the arbitrage, let me know. I'm wondering what the transfer time was like, because that's the only thing that I would really be worried about. Is just the transfer time. Let's see, Andres, you're lost in time. No, dude, don't be lost in time. Is it Wednesday? No, for me it's Tuesday. But depending where you're located, you know, it could be early in the morning Wednesday. So, but yeah, dude, don't be lost. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at Litecoin. You know, I definitely want to take a look at some of this trend that it's actually doing. So let's go ahead and plot out just a couple lines, some basic lines, and I just basically want to differentiate exactly. I might have to zoom out of here. Let's see. I want to know kind of when the day starts and kind of when the day ends, just so I have an idea exactly how it's trending within that 24-hour period. So these lines are not going to be 100% accurate to a T, but they'll be very close to kind of give me an idea of exactly where the day ends and where the day is going to begin. So we're going to probably go back to September 3rd. All right, so we got those 3 days to kind of figure out exactly, you know, what channel is this really playing, and we're going to really focus in between, you know, really on the 4th. So really, the channel was somewhere from 64 and change, let's just say 65, all the way up to a little over 75 and change. Really, that on the 4th, that was really what she trended. That was really the channel that she played. We can kind of see that right from the chart here. So, you know, if we are in a consolidation because of the news out of China, and, you know, in my honest opinion, it's just probably starting to be absorbed by the masses. You know, when it first came out, it wasn't being absorbed as well, but I think it's absorbed now. And I think, you know, we've kind of stopped the downfall trend, the free fall, because that's really what it was doing. They were free falling, some of them, but LTC did, I mean, held up pretty well. It really did. It didn't break, you know, below 60. I don't even think it really 64 was a low. That's where it got to, and that's very impressive. You know, if this was a major sell-off and people really didn't care about LTC, you know, this thing would have cracked below 60, probably got back down to the $50 range where she came from. But this is pretty solid, pretty stable for it, especially the move within, let's just say, almost a day and a half. But, you know, this is really the trend that she might play. So if you are looking to play this, and I'm looking to play this, you know, I'm looking to get in at 65 bucks and probably sell at 75. You know, that's really the channel, unless there's a clear confirmation that she is going to break out of that channel. Right now, it looks somewhat okay, to be honest with you. I mean, we're only really down below, let's see, our 50 and two, or actually our 200 and 100 moving day average is just below that price, but, you know, it's above that 917. I think that's how I have it set, or 10 and 20, and then our 50-day moving average, it is above it. So that's a clear indication that, you know, she could get up to that 75, 76. And then whether she's going to have a clear confirmation of a breakout, or she's going to break back down and retest, you know, the levels of 65, 66 possibly. And that's really the trend that I'm kind of looking for, to see if she stays within that trend. And if she does, I mean, you kind of know where your entry is going to be. You're not going to get the bottom, but you kind of have a ballpark idea of where you're looking for that entry to be. And then you have a great idea of where you're looking for that exit. So you kind of have a game plan already based on this. And that's a game plan that I have, is based on what is she channeling. I'm not going to, you know, hold all my position at 76, expecting it for it to completely break out. I'm going to start really trimming that position, because there is a possibility that she could downtrend and come right back down and test this 65, 66 possibly. So let's see another possible trend. So as this trend gets tighter and tighter and tighter too, there's a possibility for a nice pop, and it's always the possibility for a pop. So next trend happens to be, let me get this a little better. about 74, 75 to about 66. That's going to be the next trend. So as this trend gets tighter and tighter and tighter, hopefully we'll see a nice pop, but that all depends on whether buying or selling intensifies on one side and the overall market, of course, too. So if more bad news comes out of China and other countries, then of course this kind of goes out the window and we would be on a more downtrend than anything else. So this is really what I'm looking at today to see exactly, how is she going to play these specific trends? And there is a possibility that, she could completely break down these trends and not really get back up to where she should be. So we'll see exactly if she breaks out of this current trend, this current box that she's in, and gets above or below these other two boxes. And then that would indicate to me, okay, you know what? She could run a little more. She could run to that really resistance of 76 and change. It looks like 76.55, something to that extent. 76.57-ish, 56. So that is really the trend that I'm looking for today. So we'll see exactly, how this market reacts to possibly more FUD that's being spread, whether it's out of China or any other country. Let me take a look at some of the comments, try to be as interactive as I can with you guys or ladies. TJ saw a bunch of people saying that China banned cryptocurrency altogether. I actually said that, and it was an accident. I didn't even really mean to say it, that China was banning ICOs. But at that time, they were actually only, basically banning their citizens from buying ICOs. They hadn't really officially come out with a statement saying, we are banning all ICOs. And any money that was generated out of these ICOs must be returned to the investors, basically. But yeah, I mean, could this be the start of them coming out and saying, oh, we're going to ban all cryptocurrencies now? Now that we ban, ICOs, we're going to go ahead and ban all cryptocurrencies. I mean, China has done that before. They banned Bitcoin before, and then they kind of retraced on their statement, and then they started going after the exchanges. I mean, it was just a lot of stuff that's being spread. So anytime China, kind of farts out Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, the market reacts in a completely different way. And this is all emotion selling. That's really what it is. It's panic selling. People that are panicking because of the news. And if you have strong hands, I don't think Daniel's on this, but yeah, you got to have strong hands, especially if you're in a good position on the top dominating cryptocurrencies. If you're in a lot of these tokens, then yes, you more likely will take a bigger hit than you would if you were actually in these solid cryptocurrencies that have the foundation to actually, form some sort of disruption later on down the road. Let's see, Mike trading on Binance during the crash with no stops took a big hit. Really, if you're selling during the crash, you shouldn't be selling, honestly. I mean, you kind of missed the time to sell. If you didn't sell on the move up while it was moving up, don't sell while it's moving down. More than likely, you're not going to be able to get the exit that you want. I couldn't get the exit that I wanted on SAN when, Bitfinex basically put out that FUD on stopping U.S. citizens from trading EOS and SAN and really any other security as they stated. But yeah, I couldn't get out at 35 cents. I finally was able to get out at 31 cents. I mean, a difference of 3 cents, when you have, what I have like 14,000 shares or coins. I mean, that's a good amount of money that I kind of left on the table by trying to get out. But yeah, you don't want to be selling on this downturn. You want to be basically, and that's why it's a good thing to have capital on the side waiting. Because if you're tied up in some of these coins and the overall market decides to take a dip, then unless you got out, somehow, some way, and you got out close to the top and you're not selling at the bottom, then yeah, I mean, you need money, you need capital to be able to take advantage of these dips. And if you don't have the capital waiting and ready, then it's hard to take advantage of these dips. So I'll always have a little bit of USD or USDT on the side at all times. That's kind of what I would recommend. Unless you're scalping. If you're scalping, that's a whole different story. But if you're going to be holding long term, you definitely want some reserve. Yeah, I haven't read that, about China banning cryptocurrency yet. And that's usually the magic word, yet. They haven't uttered that out of their mouth yet, but they could. and they could really send BTC down to that $3,000 level if that's the case. But it's not going to die. I mean, it's going to make it back up. But the Chinese people do play a huge role. There's a lot of capital that's being funneled and being supported. If you really look at some of the volume on some of these exchanges, and that's paired with the different currency, the Chinese currency, then you're able to see a large amount of volume compared to the U.S. exchanges selling the same coin. So the Asians definitely pump a lot of money into this cryptocurrency market, and when they pull out, that's going to be bad. I think some of them already started pulling out. PK, you wish LTC broke more? I mean, there's always buying opportunities. It all depends. Are you looking for long term or short term? But that 65 really is a solid entry. And that's really the entry that I'm looking for personally for myself. So the entry that I'm looking for myself might not be the entry, might not be a good entry for yourself. So definitely, please don't do what I do, because it could really hit 65 and then dip to 60. I mean, anything's possible. LTC is definitely a good long term. Definitely a good long term. Like I said, I mean, Bitcoin, Ether, LTC, Monero, Dash, Zcash. I mean, those are good long term holds. They really are. But you can't panic. That's the thing. I mean, if you're following this market on a day-to-day basis, you got to have strong hands, especially if you have a long-term outlook on this, a long-term hold. You can't panic at these dips. And honestly, to be honest with you, let's take a look at BTC real quick. BTC on maybe a, I don't know, 1 hour chart. If you were watching this on a day-to-day basis, this would cause anybody to panic. 49.80, let's just say 5,000. I mean, $20 away, it might as well be 5,000. From 5,000 to basically almost 4,200 bucks. That's $800 drop. If you were watching this would cause a lot of people to panic. It really would. And it's just not, a drop that's happening with no news backing. This is all cryptos are dropping because of what China is basically saying. So if you were to see this, you would panic. But I mean, if you're a long-term investor, I wouldn't even look at, anything less than a 4 hour chart, to be honest with you. I mean, look at a 12-hour chart. I mean, that would make me smile. I mean, this would make me smile. These little dips, I mean, they're tiny. They're only little dips, especially if you have a long-term outlook. So, if you have a long-term outlook on any of these cryptocurrencies and you don't really plan on trading them, don't look at anything less than maybe a 4 hour chart. That it's just going to cause you to panic. You're going to see these crazy, crazy big dips, and you're going to be like, I need to get out. And, you have a long-term outlook. That's your plan for it. So if you have that plan to hold something long-term, don't panic because of these dips. And I mean, we see tons of dips that are happening within Bitcoin. It comes right back up. And the major cryptocurrencies will come back up. Some of the other tokens, probably not. A lot of them are going to die off, and new ones will come up, and other ones will die. So, yeah, LTC I would say is a good long-term hold. But if you're holding this long-term, look at a larger time frame. Look at the 1 day. Don't look at anything really small, because it will cause you to panic. So, this should bring a smile to anybody's face that was even in this, let's just say hypothetically, 2000. This should bring a smile to your face. But, we'll see exactly, what happens going forward. Hopefully, with the 3-day weekend over, hopefully this is the start of a consolidation, and hopefully we don't get it. To be honest with you, I hope we don't get a crazy run, because it's just going to cause a bigger dip. It really is. We need a healthy, sustained move, and then consolidate, maybe correct a little bit, go back up, consolidate. That's really what it needs to do. When it has these crazy moves, 100% return within a very short period of time that no other investments will ever do, unless they're a scam somehow, some way. But, it's going to come back up. So, this is definitely a better chart to look at if you're a long-term investor and not worrying about these crazy dips. And when the dips happen, like I said, have capital, be ready. Add to your position. Potter's one. Yo. Thank you for joining. Welcome. No weak hands here. Yeah, dude. Yeah, there are no weak hands at all, man. I mean, if you got into a position because it's a solid coin and your outlook was long term, then yeah, have those strong hands. If you got into something because you plan on day trading it or swing trading it, then swing trade it, get out of it. That's your plan. That was your plan initially from getting into, possibly some of these unknown coins, that end up flying really nice and end up giving, significant amount of profit to a lot of people. And if your plan was to just kind of swing trade it, scalp it, whatever it might be, then yeah, those type of coins I would just day trade. But some of the major cryptocurrencies that I mentioned earlier, yeah, definitely hold on to them. Even on these dips, to be honest with you, if you didn't already sell at the top, then there's no sense of selling here. That's kind of the way I look at it personally for myself. Where's the bird? I don't know what bird. I don't know if that was in reference to something else, but yeah, I don't know what bird you're talking about. Maybe the Eagles. Football season starting up. I'm a big Eagles fan. Still holding Neo. Oh man. Let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at Neo. You're not holding it from like the 40s or even the 30s or even the 20s. I mean, if you bought it at 20 and you didn't take profit on the way up, then yeah, I don't know what to tell you. But if you bought it on the way down, it's kind of hard to determine exactly, where the bottom is and the news that was possibly coming out. So if you were buying it on the way down on the dip and you were buying it at, at the resistance that you would have plotted out, then no, don't be mad at yourself for getting into that trade. You were patient with it. You waited for it. You bought on the dip. You didn't chase it. You didn't buy when it was running like crazy. But yeah, I never kick myself at all for getting into a trade that ends up dipping. As long as I did my due diligence and I plotted out my support and resistance, and as it was pulling back, I started adding to that position at major support lines. But if I'm just buying something that's running, then yeah, I should definitely be kicking myself if it decides to take a tank. But let's just say hypothetically, somebody bought this thing at, they were very patient with it. It was running. I mean, they didn't suffer from that FOMO, and they were just very, very patient with it. And let's just say they bought this at 550,000 Satoshis. They wanted to be just a little aggressive because of this peak here. They didn't want to put it at the high of 530,000 Satoshis. So they're like, 550 Satoshis is perfect. I would commend them for that, to be honest with you. I really would commend them for being patient and waiting for it to hit a major support. And that is a major support. But because of the news, it decided to break that major support. So, if this thing, dips and you got in at 550 and it dips to 376, don't kick yourself at all. Just be patient with it. You were already patient with it on the way down. But yeah, I just don't know what's going to happen with Neo and the ICOs that's being created on their platform. I mean, they're going to have to move to a different country that's a little more accepting of ICOs being created on their platform. Considering, that the Chinese people can't. It's completely banned. So, but yeah, this is definitely it's not a good looking chart at all. And I never took part in Neo and never had a position. So I'll put that disclaimer out there. If I do cover something and I have a position in it, I will definitely inform you guys that I have a position in something. I don't want to cover something and then not have that transparency where, there's a reason why I'm covering it. Either I have a position in it or I don't. And if I do have a position, I will definitely be transparent and let you know that I took a position in this. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, this is a one-day chart that we're looking at. So, I mean, today's green. It's not bad. This might be the consolidation phase. It could move sideways, possibly as it's trending downwards. But I don't see us having, crazy dips. Unless China comes out and says, Neo, you're no longer allowed to operate within the boundaries of China. Now, if that's if that's the news that comes out, then yeah, Neo could go to, I don't know, less than $1. I was going to say a penny, but that wouldn't be fair at all. But it could go less than $1, if that news comes out of China, banning Neo from operating within China. So, and could that happen? Possibly. It possibly could. I mean, why would a coin want to stay in a country that they're completely banning, cryptocurrency? Let's bear with me, guys. I had a monitor completely go out. And that's kind of where I have my charts. All right, I think we're good now. But yeah, I'll get to a couple comments and then we're going to take a look at OMG. We'll take a look at Omisa Go. If you guys, found some great entries as well too on this dip, definitely let me know. I think one of the biggest winners really on Bitfinex is IOTA. IOTA is up basically almost 50%, actually a little over 50% from its low that it had actually set on this little correction. I'll call it a little correction. But yeah, I mean, it dipped to 36 cents and it's at 58 cents. So if anybody, caught IOTA, you wouldn't have been able to catch it at 36 cents, but even 40 cents, because it's really peaked over 60 cents. That's a 50% profit, on this downturn market. So that's really the one that's been up the most, I would say. OMG touched 733. Now it's at 945. It was at 980. So I mean, it's up a good amount, but it's not up as much as IOTA, where IOTA is up 50%. China's just manipulating the market. They have been. Yeah, dude, they have been. And for anybody new, to cryptocurrency, and that's not aware, China's always been involved in, in manipulation. And it's just not cryptocurrency that they're manipulating. They manipulate everything else. So no offense to anybody from China. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of manipulation that goes on. But that tells you, I mean, they really have a strong hold on this cryptocurrency market. And without China, where would this market really be? I mean, you really think about that. Without China, where would this market really be? I don't think it would be. I mean, you guys know. I'm not going to say it. Let's see, Armando. So this week might be still in correction mode. That's what you think. You agree you have some USD ready on standby. It's great that you have USD on standby. And hopefully you have a plan. I mean, you really can't look at every cryptocurrency, to be honest with you. You maybe look at 3 and do your analysis on those 3 and say, okay, you know what? If this gets to this price, I'm going to buy. If this gets to this price, I'm going to buy. Usually the way I have my system set up is I have a 4 monitor set up with a laptop. So on 3 of the monitors, I'll have basically a total of 2, 4, 6 Bitfinex up. So on those 6 different pages, I have different cryptocurrencies on there. So I'll have, OMG, Monero, Zcash, BCH, whatever it might be. But then I have an order ready to be submitted instantly right away. So then I'm not, if something is dropping, I'm not sitting there and trying to do the math and figure out, okay, you know what, I can buy this much because this is how much capital I have readily available. I have that already set and ready to go. So if anything happens where I see something drop in, I can hit that exchange buy real quick, because I already have that limit order in the book. And if I see something dropping and I think it's going to get to that limit order a lot faster than some of the other cryptocurrencies that I'm watching, I click it. So that's kind of the way I prepare myself, to be ready to buy something if it drops. With IOTA dropping to 36 cents, I mean, unless you had an open order in the book for 37 cents or 36 cents, and I don't know, I don't even know if you would have been first in, first out on that 36 cents, but 36,001 would have definitely got it executed. But unless you had that order in the book, or unless you had, the price already in the order book, and then the amount that you wanted to buy ready to hit that submit button, there's no way to catch it. There's really no way to catch that drop at all. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I mean, so you have to be ready. You have to be ready with that order to submit it if it is the cryptocurrency that you're looking to get into, if it drops. So I look at 6 different ones and I have the order, already plotted out in there, where all I have to do is just hit that submit button, and then hopefully I can get some sort of execution. What would happen to the China-based coins if they ban crypto? They would go down. They would drop in value. They would drop heavily. That's my honest opinion. Yeah, a lot of money is not going to be flowing into a lot of these coins then. And China is putting a lot of money into a lot of these coins. So you would have a lot of money being taken out of the market cap and not circulating from, one coin to another coin. So yeah, that wouldn't be good at all. That wouldn't be good. But, like I said, I mean, it's not going to kill every cryptocurrency. It's not going to be the end of all cryptocurrency. It's not. The ones that can sustain, this type of turbulence will survive. And I mean, we all know which ones will survive and, which ones will kind of die off and never come back. SkyTech, good morning from Cali. Got burned with WTC and BNK. I don't know what WTC is or BNK. Let's see. And you're not the only one. You're not the first. You're not the last, PK. I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of people that got burned. So WTC. And let's see if this even finds it. Walton. What is Walton? Mike, you bought BNB at 2.9 and sold at 6.5. Dude, that's great. That is great. Over 100%. Dude. Pat yourself on the back, man. I'd give you a virtual high five. 27% Walton is down. I don't even know what Walton does. But really, yeah, the move, the volume really started on, it looks like on the first. That's a big move. That is a big move from like 60 cents all the way to like 280 in a very short period of time. Yeah, so hopefully, you didn't get in at the high, at the top of this. Let's see, what exchange is it on? Okay, on one exchange, controlling majority of the volume. Oh, Binance Coin, BNB. This really had a nice sustained move. I mean, this wasn't a 3-day push up and then kind of coming back down. This is pretty sustained. Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of charts are probably looking the same way, where they had a nice high and then, yeah, it's correction time. It is correction time. Yeah, but I don't know what Binance Coin is. I haven't really followed it. It's the first time I'm really hearing about it. So if you believe in the technology and, you have a good entry, yeah, don't let them shake you out. Yeah, it's a big drop though from 274, 280. I mean, it came down to 75 cents, just about 79 cents, 80 cents. Yeah, that's a big drop, especially if somebody got into it at the top. Jonathan, good morning, buddy. Hope all's well down in DC. You were in Neo at 10 when it was Ant shares. So I'm assuming you still have it then. If you didn't take profit in the 46, man. But you said was. So I'm assuming you're out of that trade, which is good. Because really anything could happen with Neo right now. Anything. Mr. Cool as Fire. Oh, man. I don't know. Are they going to get special treatment from China? Yes and no. I mean, money talks. Money talks. So if they can put money in the right person's pocket, money talks. But yeah, the thing is, they might be able to operate, but they would not be able to sell any ICOs to any of their, Chinese customers or citizens. That would be kind of out the window. But they could operate out of China, I'm assuming, because they haven't really they didn't say we're banning all cryptocurrencies. They're banning ICOs. So they can't create an ICO and offer it to their citizens, but they could create an ICO and offer it to other countries. What am I looking at here? Bitfinex. Why is this in? Okay. So what am I looking at here? IOTA. Yeah, I didn't really want to look at IOTA. Kind of wanted to look at OMG. 10 BTCs down to 4. Oh, dude, I'm sorry. You put all your funds into BNB. So that's the thing, though. You know, you went all in. You know, I mean, you didn't diversify at all. So you put all your money into BNB. Okay, all your funds from BNB into NEO. Okay, so you spread it out into NEO and WTC, and you went from 10 BTCs down to 4. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't really know any of those cryptocurrencies. I don't know, you know, what they're about. I mean, of course, I know NEO, but BNB and WTC. But yeah, that's a tough position to be in. You know, down 60%. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, you're not the only one, Mike. You're not the only one at all. There's a lot of people that are in the same position as you. Especially, you know, if they didn't cut their loss or minimize their loss and sell at the high, whatever it might have been. Yeah, Jonathan, you got to be careful too. With really anything that even comes out of the company, you know, you really got to think of it outside the box and say, okay, you know what, does this kind of make sense? And I don't know when that statement came out, that they're, you know, trying to be legitimate with the Chinese government. Now, was that after the ban or before the ban? So if it was after the ban, you know, are they just trying to, you know, throw water in the fire, you know, of a downtrend? You know, were they trying to stop, you know, the coin from bleeding down to nothing? That's a possibility. That's definitely a possibility. Where's OMG? All right, OMG 970. At least that's what Crypto Watch is showing. I'm seeing something different. 943. That makes sense now. I don't use Bitstamp. I think I have an account though, to be honest with you. I think I set it up in like 2014. But yeah, I have Bittrex. I don't use Bittrex. I think the video share just kind of went out. So give me a moment to see if I can get that fixed. All right, I think we're good. But no, but I mainly use Bitfinex as well as Coinbase. Those are really the two that I use. But I do have other accounts: Gemini, Poloniex, Bittrex. Rocky Mountain, welcome, buddy. I think you were telling me you got into IOTA, or I'm sorry, OMG. I don't know if it was you that caught OMG at $8. Armando, have a great day, buddy. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. And yeah, and if you haven't subscribed yet, click on that subscribe button. And you know, any new viewers, thank you guys. Thank you for finding us. We do appreciate it. But yeah, feel free to you know, share this this live stream, just so you know other people can know that we're here. So if you have anybody that's interested in getting into cryptocurrency, yeah, definitely share the link. Share the link. Question is, can NEO survive out of China? I think they'll do all right. I don't think they'll have that growth that we're seeing. I don't think a lot of these, you know, ICOs are going to have the growth, you know, that we kind of saw. All right, NEO. I'm sorry, not NEO. OMG. So I do have a position in OMG. That's just a little disclaimer. I was able to buy this at a very high price of $9. But I'm not kicking myself, you know, because I was patient with it. I didn't buy it at 11. I didn't buy it at 11.50. I didn't buy it at 12. As it was running up, you know, I was patient with it. And that 9 looked very good in the sense of the support as well as the order book. And then I kind of put an order in and forgot about it. But if I would have remembered, I would have definitely have lowered it to maybe 8. Definitely not 730, 750. I would have had no clue, but I would have definitely lowered it to 8. But yeah, so when I woke up that morning, I was like, oh, I guess I have a position. All right, it's down. Let's see what she does. But, she is holding up pretty well, from that 730 all the way up to 978. So, she's having a hard time breaking, the high that she made after really having a crazy downtrend, from 1250-ish down to 733. So she hit that nice high of 989. So, missed 990 just by a little bit. But, she is having a hard time breaking out above that. And that 989 was basically what is this? The 100-day moving average. That's basically what she touched before coming back down. So really the trend that she is going to be playing, I don't think she's going to get down to 733. But let me go ahead and get rid of all the other ones that I have already drawn out. So a little over 750, 760-ish, 770-ish, it looks like. And then, of course, that 989, 990-ish, that is really the trend as of the 4th. So unless she breaks out really above that, no, that's not what I wanted. Unless she breaks out above that 980, there is no confirmed breakout. So this is our trend. This is our trend for about a day and a half now. So of course the day hasn't ended. So we'll see, if this thing stays within that range that she's currently in right now. And I don't mean the range of the bottom here of 760 to 980. The range as of basically consolidating close to the top. So far that's kind of what we're seeing. We're not seeing it, touch the top and then coming back down, shooting down. We have one large candlestick, but it's not as bad as this previous candlestick here, where it touched that 989 and then really had a violent dip. Because this candlestick, let me see what the range was on that. Range was 892 to 989, so almost $1 of a difference. And that's pretty big. And that kind of engulfed a good amount of the uptrend that she had, almost 3 candles worth of movement. And these are, 30 minutes. So almost an hour and a half worth of price action movement to the upside. It completely engulfed those. So, that was somewhat of a bearish move pattern there that would have indicated, there's possibly a downtrend. So when you see a larger candle kind of engulfing, a good amount of the green candles, that there is going to be more of a downtrend to happen, especially if she's breaking, some of the moving averages and dipping below those moving averages, which she's definitely doing that within the, let me make sure I'm telling you guys the right moving averages. 10, 21, 50, 100, and 200 is what I have it set to. So yeah, once she starts really cracking the 10 and 21 moving average, and she's going to have a downtrend, but there is a channel that she's playing, and this is currently the channel now that she's playing. So if you're looking at getting a position in this, the current price might be a little too high, considering she is somewhat on a downtrend on the 30-minute chart, and a good entry would be somewhere under $8 to play it safe. But buying it here, I think you have more of a chance of it breaking down than it breaking out. If it was going to break out of this channel, it would have already broken out of this channel and not really hovered in that 980 range and consolidated sideways. That would indicate to me, okay, there is no push, there is no upward movement. The bulls are not there to support this, and there could be shorts piling in at that close to that high within that day range of a day and a half. And there could be shorts that are playing this and saying, if this gets to 990, I'm going to put a short position in, because more than likely it's going to break down from that spot. And if it decides to go up, I'm going to go ahead and cover that short position, because I know that now it has a confirmed breakout. And for this thing to really have a confirmed breakout, she needs to break out above this 200-day moving average, which is right around $10.15. If she can break above that $10.15, which is the 200-day moving average, then yes, that will be a confirmed breakout, and she will be breaking out of the channel that she formed for about a day and a half. So we'll see exactly how this plays out. But right now, no, she's not looking good for an entry here. Entry under $8, yes, that's looking better. And I bought at 9, so I'm hoping that it does break out. And I do have a sell order in at 11. $11 is what I'm selling, so that's my disclaimer. I bought at 9. $11 is really where I'm looking to lock in half of the profit. And then if it breaks out above it, that's great. I'll lock the rest in at 1250, because at 1250, you know, unless there's positive news that's coming out of OMG, more than likely she is going to have a downtrend. You know, especially with the news out of China. All right, let me get to some of these comments a little bit. Jonathan, you woke up to the dip. So I'm assuming, I mean, because really the dip started this past weekend. That's really when the craziness started. What time was this at? Let's see. Looks like 9:30. It peaked on September 1st, and so ever since September 1st, Friday, you know, 3-day weekend, especially in the U.S. with Labor Day. I mean, that took a lot of market cap out. You know, BTC on Bitfinex going from, I mean, it got to close to 5,000. It was 59, like 70, 59.80. I'm sorry, 59.80, 49.80. You know, 49.70, something to that extent. But yeah, for it to drop all the way down to 3,900, and it just touched 3,900. So yeah, this downtrend has been going on for the past couple of days. Rumors about Samsung and Walton teaming up, so people are buying the rumor and selling the news. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Walton. This is the first time I heard about it. So I wonder what type of involvement they're going to have with Samsung. Neo lied. They lied. I mean, they're not going to spread bad news. Think about it. If any news comes out of a coin or a company, it's going to be positive news. It's going to be good news. You know, they're going to fluff that news. Like DigiByte with the meeting with Citigroup. I mean, that's just one example. But yeah, I mean, they can all lie to kind of stabilize their price. You know, to be honest with you. So it was last week that they were trying to work with China. So before all this ruling really came out. So they knew something was happening, you know, and really the indication on that should have been that drop. It really should have been that drop. So am I still on Neo? Yes, I am. All right. So let's take a look at this on a 30-minute chart. And I said that before too on you know, one of the live streams. I said, you know, this drop here should cause some sort of alarm. There's something we don't know. Something's happening that we do not know. We have no clue on what is happening. Only the insiders know exactly what is happening, and their friends, you know, if they pass off that insider information, knows exactly what's going on. You know, or somebody within the Chinese government, you know, tipped off, you know, a couple of the crypto traders, and they decided, hey, you know what, we're going to get out of our position. But yeah, that should have been an indication, you know, considering she didn't come right back up. And I said that before, considering she didn't come right back up to where she dropped from, that should have been an indication that there's something going on, something that we're not aware of. And little did we know there was something going on. But I'm surprised, you know, that actually, no, I don't think that was a drop. I'm sorry. Where's that drop? Okay, that was a second drop, basically. So here's a drop here. That was a drop there. And I guess, you know, later on the news came out that they had banned one of the ICOs. I forget the name of the ICO, but that was the cause of the drop. But yeah, that should have drawn some sort of alarm. It's like, well, if they're banning this ICO, there's a possibility that they could put a ban on all ICOs. Or actually, I'm sorry, that wasn't the ban on the ICO. That was the ban on their citizens on taking part in ICOs. That was the news there. But yeah, that should have thrown some sort of alarm saying, hey, you know what? They're banning. I mean, you got to really think of it outside the box. If they're banning their citizens from taking part in these ICOs, then what are the possibilities of them banning all ICOs? I mean, banning, you know, the whole population from taking part in ICOs, that's basically banning ICOs in general. They just really didn't come out and say it until recently, which caused this dip here. So I don't know. I don't know what Neo's going to do. It's only a matter of time. Abis Said got into OMG at 810. That's a great entry. Great entry. So I don't know if you, I mean, you got into 810. I don't know if you sold, you know, at 970, 980. I would have definitely sold. I would have locked in some of the profit. considering I got in at $9, for me, it's not a good entry considering she is playing the trend of basically, let's just say 750 or 760 all the way to 980. At $10, that would probably indicate to me that there is that there could be a breakout above that 200-day moving average. And that's really when I would be looking to lock in those profits, when it gets to 11 and then upwards from there. But yeah, I mean, this thing could break right back down to 780, under $8 and then come back up, try to attempt to break out above that 990. But it's probably not going to. So definitely, keep an eye on this and see exactly. And this is a 30-minute chart that I'm looking at. So that's why the 200-day moving average is only at $10.15. If you look at a bigger moving time at a bigger time frame, then you're going to see that the actual moving averages will increase. So if we even look at this on a 4-hour chart, I mean, it's way above our 200-day moving average, way above it. So yeah, it all depends, what time frame you're looking at, but that 30 minutes is going to be a clear indication of whether we're going to have a nice upward move or if she's just going to continue the trend that she's continuing. And a lot of them, if we are in consolidation, which in my opinion, I think, we will be in some sort of form of a consolidation, as long as no bad news comes out. But yeah, every cryptocurrency is possibly going to be playing the trend that she's in. So I would definitely look at the trend with any cryptocurrency you're looking at, especially, from going forward from the 4th on, because more likely that is the trend that she's going to play. And we did take a look at LTC trend and, let's see. I mean, as the day goes on, we'll see exactly if this, comes back down to the 66, 67 and kind of goes right back up to 75 and breaks back down, or is she going to break down below these two here and kind of get to the low of that trend to the 65, 64. And I'm looking for that 65. Unless something indicates to me that, what, this has got more of a drop to go. Especially if we start seeing that the selling is intensifying, then that could be a whole different story. You know what time it is. It is time to smash that like button. Thank you so much, bud. I appreciate it. Yeah, and if you do find this information helpful, pound it, smash it, do whatever you want to do with it. And if you're a new-time viewer, thank you so much for finding us. I do appreciate this. And don't forget to click on that subscribe button as well as the post notification and sign up for our mailing list and keep this cryptocurrency conversation going. There are a good amount of people that have joined. And really, I mean, they keep it very interactive. So Oni Rocky Mountain, thank you so much for being very interactive and for keeping that chat room alive and conversing. I'm not on there as much as I would like to be. My kids kind of keep me occupied. And sometimes when I do get on and I start chatting, then I get distracted and I have to move away. And then that conversation kind of stops there. So if I start chatting, it's going to be for a good period of time because I have that time available. But yeah, let's take a look at, oh man, what do we want to look at today? Let me know. I'd be happy to look at anything you guys want me to look at. And I am still in that sand position. I am still in it. And I would have added to that position at like 2026. I didn't have any funds available, but I would have loved to add on to that position. I'm having a problem with the computer right now, so just bear with me, guys. I will try to see what is going on with this. Sporting the MACD. Yeah, I had the MACD on, was it Crypto Watch? Yes, Crypto Watch. I tend to put it on, take it off, put it on, take it off. It all depends if I want to look at if I just want to stare at the chart and just really stare at it. I'll take these indicators off. Yeah, the low volume kind of sucks on sand. It really does. But in my opinion, I think she's a sleeper. She's a sleeper, and I think she can really do wonders. She really can, and it's information I rely on that they're trying to create. It's information that every trader and investor really needs, and as long as I can get the project going, it can definitely do wonders. But yeah, it's stuck in a rut. It really is. But I would definitely add on to the position if I had capital now. Let's just say hypothetically, OMG decides to take a nice run, and I take a good amount of profit. I will take some of that profit and put it into SAN. And if I think, if I can get SAN at 30 cents, I'll be happy. It'll lower my cost average. But yeah, this might be, SAN might be a more of a long-term hold than I like, especially, if they start putting out some positive news. They really haven't been putting out much news. But if they can get some positive news, some listing on more exchanges, then yeah, it could do well. It's going to take time. It's really going to take time with SAN. But yeah, if anybody caught that, 26, congrats. 25 is, it didn't touch exactly 25, but it got pretty close to 25 cents. And that was my previous entry, was 25 cents. Let's see. SkyTech's asking me, did you stop by Monterey, California when you drove down the coast in Cali? I'm heading there after the live stream for some R&R. Dude, that is sweet. We stopped at a lot of places, man. We stopped at Big Sur. I saw the competition, the surfboard competition there, which was awesome. We stopped at, let's see, man, there's a lot of places. Monterey, Schnippity Schnapp. I can't remember now, but yeah, we did the whole, basically, we didn't drive all the way down to San Diego. We stayed the night at San Luis Obispo, and San Luis Obispo was pretty cool. So once we got to San Luis Obispo, we kind of went inland and bypassed LA and all that crazy traffic. We didn't want to deal with it, considering we were on a time crunch and needed to really get down to San Diego. But we took our time from Novato, right outside of San Francisco, heading all the way down to San Luis Obispo. Big Sur was awesome. We stopped at Big Sur for an extended period of time. But yeah, we were at Monterey. We stopped at the pier, hung out. Trying to think some of the other places we stopped at. But yeah, we stopped all over the place. But yeah, if you're going to Monterey, have fun, enjoy it, man. Enjoy it. I'm jealous. But yeah, that drive will be happening. I don't know. Hopefully within a year. I'll be doing that drive again. My wife has never done that drive. We've done some crazy drives, driving from Fort Lauderdale all the way down to Key West. And that's a very scenic drive. And then the Outer Banks. If you can drive, from the tip of basically North Carolina, where the Outer Banks, Kitty Hawk starts, all the way down to Avon. That's a nice drive as well, too. It's probably one of the most scenic drives I've ever been on. But yeah, driving down to Monterey, that's sweet. Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about Big Sur was the gas price. Gas price was like $5 a gallon in Big Sur. That was ridiculous. SkyTech smashing that like button. Thank you so much, man. It is much appreciated. How about having a quick look at XMR? Certainly, definitely. Yeah, this is a time for me to kind of chat with you guys, and I'll take a look at some coins that you guys want me to. XMR was great at $100. And and for me, it would have been an in and out type of profit. It wouldn't have been something I would have held. Let's see, XMR. You know what? I'll probably look at it on Crypto Wash. Are you currently in XMR now? And hopefully, if any of you guys got into XMR, hopefully it was when it was just really hovering between the 40s and the 50s. This isn't looking too bad on the 30-minute chart at all. It isn't. As long as she can get above this 200-day moving average, she could be very bullish, as long as she doesn't touch it and turn back around. And a lot of times that's what they do, especially on a downtrend or an uptrend. They'll get to one of the moving averages and they'll turn right back around. But let's see, what is she playing today? And she's probably going to do the same exact thing that a lot of these cryptocurrencies are doing. They're playing within a certain trend. And until they break out of that trend, and if really, I mean, if you're just day trading it, then that's really the strategy you should have, is the in and outs of the trend that she's actually playing. And we'll go up to the 6. So let's see, is the trend getting tighter? No, it's not, because it broke out above this trend here. So if she would have broke down right from this high here, and that high was 113.98, 114, but she didn't break down from that high. So really, that is the trend. That is going to be the trend. And I would have probably said a while back that 115 would have been the top there, but at least she got up a little higher. But yeah, I mean, this could be the trend that she's going to play. So, I mean, if I was to looking at getting a position on this, and if selling does kind of intensify, I would be looking for that 90, 96, 97-ish, 95, somewhere in that range if she gets to that. And then I'm selling at 115. So from 196, let's just say 195 to 115, a difference of $20 depending on the size of your position. But yeah, I mean, this next couple of days, if they are just going to consolidate, really should be scalping this. Either scalping it on a daily chart, or holding it for 2 days and really just playing that trend. And if she does get up to, let's just say hypothetically, she gets down to 100, you take a position at 100, and she starts to kind of breaks out above the 115, gets close, gets to the 117. At 117, I would be looking to lock in a little bit of the profit, because I don't want to hold it at 117 expecting it to kind of break out, and then all she does from that 117 is break down. So at least I would be looking to sell a third of my position or a quarter of my position at that price. And if she breaks out above that 200-day moving average, then you have a confirmed breakout. And then you kind of have to look and see exactly, okay, where is the possible next resistance? If she does have a confirmed breakout above that above the 200-day moving average, which is right around $121, $120, let's just say, what is the next resistance? That really resistance is going to be right up here. And that is the 129, 130. 130 might be pushing it just a little bit. But so if you sell a quarter of your position or a third of your position at that 117, and she does have a breakout, I would be looking to lock in the rest of the profit at 129. And this type of market, with a lot of uncertainty that's going on, this isn't going to keep going up and up and start breaking all-time highs. She is going to start pulling back, and all major cryptos will start pulling back. So that's kind of the strategy that the way that I would play it. I wouldn't sell everything at 117, because if she breaks out above it, then you're like, kicking yourself, man, why didn't I stay in it? But if you do end up selling everything and she crashes back down, then that's a great strategy, because you unloaded everything at the top, but it's kind of hard to determine what that top is. You happen to get lucky, basically. You got out at the top, you got lucky, and it downtrended, and those are some of the best lucks that anybody could have. But if you sell everything at 117 and she breaks out to 130, more than likely you're going to be like, man, why didn't I stay in this trade? But if you have 3/4 of your position, or if you have 2/3 of your position left over, then at least you're able to lock in a little bit of the pie. Grab a little bit of that slice of the pie to maximize your profit. But yeah, I mean, anything could happen. So you really have to kind of play these with a little bit of caution. And at $95 or $96, I wouldn't throw everything I had at it. I would maybe throw 50% of my capital at it, because what if it does downtrend and really breaks 94.10 and gets down to 90 cents, or I'm sorry, 90 cents. That would be great if she did, for people looking for an entry, not for people that are already in the position. That'd be a crazy flash crash. But yeah, I wouldn't put everything in, because if she does break the 94.10, there's a possibility she could get to that $90 level. And then you're able to add a little bit more to that position, because then she's going to be playing a newer channel. So hopefully that was helpful. I forgot who asked me to take a look at that. Saeed. But yeah, every crypto is going to be playing some sort of trend and that's a big if we are in a form of consolidation. I think the drop has stopped, it's subsided currently right now, but that could turn at any moment. So, with the way the market is moving right now, I would say, on a longer period of time, we could be in a consolidation. So, let's take a look at 1 hour, maybe 2, maybe 4. Yeah, I mean the drop on a longer time frame has subsided. So, this could be the area of just consolidation. Waiting for maybe more positive news or for the news to just die down, and that's really what they're waiting for. A lot of traders, I think, they're waiting for this news to just kind of for people to really put it on the back burner. And once they put it on the back burner, completely forget about what China said about ICOs. It's out of sight, out of mind. People start dumping money into it again, and then China comes out again with another saying, ICO ban, we ban an ICO. Did you guys forget? And then the market will react completely differently to it. So. Let's see. Entered Monero a few hours ago, but didn't know much of it. So want you to take a look. Yeah, I mean that under $100 would have been great. And a while back, I kind of told myself, if this thing really gets to $100, I'll buy it. But I didn't have any funds. I was already in OMG. But that $100 is really what I was looking for. And I think I was looking to buy like 13. It wasn't much, 13 coins. And it wasn't to hold it for much. I mean, it goes up $10. It's $130. It wasn't going to be a long-term hold. But yeah, I'm going to try to get a little granular on this just to see if it stays within that range or if it completely breaks out above that range or breaks down below it. So on the 15 minutes, I mean, it broke out above the 200-day moving average, but now it's breaking down below it. But our 10 and 21 are moving up in a bullish pattern and a bullish move. And that's just short term. So you really don't want to trade these, smaller moving averages, the 9, 10, whatever you set it for, 5, 10, 10, 21, 9, 19, or 9, 17. Unless you're really scalping and just trading on candlesticks, then I would not trade these two moving averages at all. Saeed, not a problem, man. Not a problem. Yeah, I'd be happy to look at some coins if you guys ask me to, as long as I have access to a good charting system. But yeah, I want to take a look at F real quick and actually cleared out all my charts. I had to clear out all my charts because or everything that I drew out on F. So all that support resistance that I plotted out where it was bullish, very bullish, extremely bullish, that is completely gone now. And the issues that I was having with Bitfinex and the reason why I just basically had to completely reset the chart was that really the prices on the right-hand side weren't really matching up with the actual price of the candlestick. And that was just driving me nuts. And every time I would, kind of align it up and move it up and align it properly, I would switch over to a different chart. Same exact thing would happen. So I just kind of got tired of it. But yeah, F really had a more of a bigger drop, I think. I need to take a look at GDAX. But 267. So why was that 267 important level for it to bounce back from? And hopefully this live stream is still going, and hopefully I'm not having any issues. If you guys can hear me, let me know. Because I think I'm having some sort of latency issues with the internet. So BTC, I'm sorry, not BTC, F will have some hurdles that she has to get above. So she needs good news. She needs good news to come out in order for this to really make a move up. And I forget, somebody had mentioned to me that Vitalik was leaving Ethereum. And I forget who was that said that. But yeah, I found an old article, and I mean, when we're talking about old, I mean, it was like 4 months old. Somebody kind of just writing an article about it. What are the chances of him leaving? And that's really all that I found. So yeah, so I don't know if there's FUD being spread that cause, more of a price drop on Ether so that somebody could buy in cheaper before really the big move, where it should really be. I mean, this thing should really be at $500 and hovering at $500. It should not be in the 270s or under 300 at all. All right, good. Loud and clear. You guys can hear me. Sweet. Rocky Mountain, you got work calls. Oh, dude, I'm sorry. Yeah, man, but you got to do what you got to do, right? Got to do what you got to do. All right, so, a couple hurdles that she does have to break. I mean, now she's going to have resistance, and she's going to have probably more of a resistance. So let's go ahead and look at this on a larger time frame. But yeah, I was really disappointed at this, and that it didn't completely break out and have a nice confirmed breakout like a lot of the cryptocurrencies were. And I think when it was hovering right around the 390, I said this doesn't look good. I just don't like the way it looks, in the sense that it should have already broken out above 400 and should have broken out above it with a vengeance. Yeah, it could have come back down to 400 and retested back under 400. That would have been perfectly normal. But considering she wasn't breaking out at all, I was like, I don't like the movement that it's making. And then of course the bad news came out, and it gave up a good amount of that price action movement, a good amount of it, within a very short period of time. I mean, if this was just gradually giving up these gains, it wouldn't be that bad. But it's just, it's so volatile. It is just too volatile. All right, so that first area, I mean, that 320, it's still going to be an area, and that was an area in the past that she had to break out above it, and she did break out above it. She maintained it, and it's still going to be an area of concern, an area that she does have to break out above it. And as long as she can break out above it and maintain that channel, hovering above the 320, then yes, it'll be somewhat okay. But if she continuously starts to break down, then yes, I mean, she'll provide some great opportunity for anybody that's sitting on the sideline with cash. Great opportunity. So I mean, we're not going to really, cover too much about, the resistance that she has. And let's really talk about, mainly the support. If she does, if this downtrend really continues, where's the possible areas of support? And she's going to have different areas of support. As long as I get my chart to cooperate. Uh, 280, yeah, that it's very feasible. It can definitely get to 280. It's not that far from it. So but yeah, I need this whole chart to load. So 267 is what she got to. So that's really going to be our kind of the first area that I would notice just by looking at it. We'll just say 270 just to make the math a little easy. All right, first area. Second area is going to be 250. 250 might be a better area, to be honest with you, instead of that 280. Who mentioned that to me? Andrea. If you wanted to be really patient with it, and it all depends, I guess, what exchange you're using, because every exchange is going to have different prices. But on Bitfinex, if I was going to put more money into Bitfinex, I'm sorry, if I was going to put more money into Ether, I would wait for that 250. I would want to be a little patient with it. If you're going to add up 280, maybe add a little bit to see exactly, how she reacts to that 280. But have some funds available to add onto it at 250, or if she decides to crack below 250. Below 250, it's really going to be, this is a little tough, and my computer is not really cooperating with the latency. 225-ish. So that 225 is going to be also another area. And if really BTC cannot maintain that 225, I'm sorry, not BTC. If F cannot maintain that 225, under 200 might be in sight. It might be in sight. But yeah, let's go ahead and zoom out of this and see, why that 225 might be an important level. And I don't really know if it's an important level yet, but I got to look at the history in the past and see exactly how she reacted to that 225. But even with a major sell-off, I would be very surprised if this thing gets back down to 130. Very surprised. I don't really seeing it happen. That 175 would be the bottom, is what I would think. If there's a major sell-off, there's always that big if. If things are selling off. All right, so why is 225 a crucial level? So in the past, it's kind of proven to us that, it was an area of resistance. It had a hard time breaking out above it, especially if we're looking way to the left before really she had a crazy breakout to an all-time high of 411 on Bitfinex. That was an area that kind of kept it sidelined just a little bit. And she did move sideways and consolidate at that 225 range right over here, below 225, and then really broke out and completely started breaking out heavily. So that area there, and when she did break down from that high of 411, whatever that high was, 411, 412, when she did break down below it, she came down heavily. And yes, she cracked through that 225 and got to 204, but came right back up. She didn't consolidate at that specific spot. Considering she came back up from it, that indicates to me that that 225 is still a very solid support for it. Also right up here, actually a couple different points. So we got 1, 2, 3 different points. So when she did get down to 204 and came back up with a vengeance to really get up to that 320 range, and she broke down again. She broke way through that 225, but came back up. And when she came back up, she formed that as a resistance. Instead of being the support, it became the resistance. So a lot of times, prior resistance becomes current support. Prior support becomes current resistance. So you got to kind of have to look at the overall picture of it. And when she did touch $130 below 140, came up, and really a lot of fighting happened, for price action movement between the bears and the bulls, right around that 225. So if we really get in a little granular on a very specific spot, let's see what I want to do here. This really has not been cooperating with me. But, if we really get very granular on this little section here, and we only look at this section, I mean, you're going to see it trending within a certain trend for a very extended period of time. So that really indicates that, the battle between the bears and the bulls, nobody was winning that fight, but that fight was going on, and it went on for a very good extended period of time. And then, of course, the bears won that battle and drove it down to that 175. And that 175 is a crucial level because there's a couple times that it bounced off from it. But we're really talking about that 225 period right now. So that 225 when she came down and broke, really the bears won that battle, between the fight that was going on here for several days. And she broke down, came back up. She consolidated. She really moved sideways for an extended period of time, right around that 225-ish. Broke below it, came close to it, broke below it, came close to it, and then finally broke out with a vengeance and hasn't looked back since then. So, I mean, that 225, I need to get rid of this RSI. That 225 is going to be very crucial on a downtrend coming back up, considering there were several spots that she indicated to us. You know what? She's formed that as a prior resistance, formed it as a new support. Now now it's basically becoming the current support, not the first area of support, but the bare bottom support that if there was major selling that was to happen, that could be the area where she turns around from. And that's a big healthy dip, going from almost $400 down to 225. That's a very, very healthy correction. And from there, unless crazy things are happening within this crypto space that we're all involved in, that's the area that I kind of see in it turn back around. That's kind of the area that I see a good amount of the action happening. But if she does crack that, because now all ICOs are banned that are being created on the Ethereum network, or other countries come out and say, you know what, we're banning Ether because they're creating way too many ICOs, and these ICOs are scams. Then yeah, I mean, she could break that 225 and kind of level out at that 175. So, if you're looking for an entry, on F, and you're looking to be patient, I would play these areas of resistance. I'm sorry, areas of support. That 250, 225, 200, 175. Those are really the areas that I would be playing and adding a little bit on as it's breaking these support lines. Now, if you add at the first support line, you only add a little bit and it decides to go up, you know what, that's great. But you had no clue that it's going to go up from that support line. So that's why you wouldn't add everything at once, because if it does decide to break that support line, at whatever 250, then you have more funds available to add on to it and lower that cost average a little bit. Yeah, 50, 100, 200 is perfect. That is perfect, man. There's times where I've just only looked at the 50 and the 200 just to kind of have an overall idea. And that's really what long-term investors should be looking at. But yeah, throwing the 50 in there as a mix is not too bad at all. But yeah, those are perfect moving averages. Which one is better? And, they're all lagging, to be honest with you. The moving average, the exponential moving average, they're all going to be lagging. I like to use the moving average, but I've used the exponential moving average as well, too. The exponential moving average, I had to tweak it a little more to kind of align to the chart. When I'm looking at the chart and seeing where it actually dipped from, I want to be able to see, the EMA or the MA start to converge from or diverge from that exact spot. So this is exactly, let's say, the 5 and the 10. Oh, I'm sorry, the 10 and 20. I forget. 10 and 20, I think, is what I have it set to. It really started to diverge right at the peak, and that's perfect. But with a lot of these indicators, there is a lag. You're going to see that they don't start to diverge, from crossing underneath. So that the bigger moving average is, or the smaller moving average is dipping below the larger moving averages. With some of the moving averages, you don't really see that until after the dip is really happening. So then it really doesn't give you a good time to kind of get out. With this here, with the 10 and 20, it's perfect. It's right on point, just about from where it basically decided to cross under the 20-day moving average. So that would have indicated to me, if I was trading this, to say, you know what, this has had a crazy run. It's a nice run, and I'm happy with the profits. And on a 3-hour time frame, it's diverging. It's going underneath the 20-day moving average. And somebody would say, you know what, I'm gonna get out of this position because I'm happy with the profits I have, and that would have been a perfect exit. Let's try to see if we can take a look at the 6-hour chart and see exactly where the crossover was. And of course, it doesn't want to load the 6-hour chart. So on a 6-hour chart, really, you would have been getting out if you were playing this, if you were playing the smaller moving averages, and it didn't really, it didn't really move underneath the larger moving average until really the price had taken a dip. So, I mean, going from, let's just say 390 or 380 all the way up to a low of 325. That's really when the 10-day moving average diverged underneath the 20-day moving average. And then at 340, it diverged under the 50-day moving average, and then the 100-day moving average. So we'll see exactly, if the smaller moving average, our 10-day moving average, is going to diverge underneath the 200-day moving average. If it does, expect more of a dip, really. And that 225 could really be realistic. Let's see. Henry, MA 721. 721 is not bad. I've used 721 before. I've used 5 and 8. I mean, I've used all different ones for the smaller moving averages. But the 77 and 231, that's interesting. I'm going to have to play around with that 77, 231 and see exactly, how that fits depending on the time frame that I'm looking at. But yeah, I think, Henry, you're the first one that I know of using 77 and 231. Usually a lot of traders, long-term investors don't go over the 200-day moving average. But yeah, I mean, it works for some people and it might not work for others. So everybody has their own strategy. Everybody has, their own settings on the moving averages and what works for them. But yeah, just remember that, any moving average is a lagging moving average. That's why you need other variables to kind of say, okay, you know what? This variable is telling me this variable is telling me that, this variable is telling me this, but they're all kind of almost indicating the exact same thing. More than likely there's a downtrend because now you have 3 variables that are telling you 3 things that are somewhat similar. But Henry, thank you so much for joining, man. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the comment. But yeah, I mean, this is, I like this chart. I like the fact that, well, it's just not Ether. It's really any cryptocurrency, especially the dominating ones. They have the ability to correct, and that's why it's just never good to chase it. I mean, look, when this thing just started really going uphill, and I mean, it was just shooting up. But basically, that's what it was doing. It wasn't climbing the stairs, at a very nice pace. It was shooting up to the moon, like a rocket was basically taking off. But yeah, I mean, so it proves to us that, yeah, I mean, they can come down. They can come down heavily. And I think June, July was really, the time that things were just, on a downtrend. So if you didn't sell anywhere up here, close to the top, there's no sense of selling where you are. Yes, it could dip down further. And as long as you're going to play that type of strategy, then yes, you could sell dips. That's really what the hope is. If you're selling somewhere in the middle, out. So if you didn't sell top, your window to sell kind of the window a couple days ago. So my opinion, I would hold, and I am holding, where I'm not going to get shaken out, because I know with Ether and these popular coins, they can make it. They will make it back up. Not that they can. They will make it back up. It's just a matter of time. So your holding period could be a little longer. Like, I'm not worried about sand. Yes, what am I down on sand? I don't even know. Sand is down to 30 cents, so I'm down 18 cents. What do I have, like 6,000 coins? So I'm down like $1,000, 1,080 is what I'm down. But, I know it has the ability to make it back up. So I'm not too worried. It's just going to take a little bit longer time. It's not going to do it tomorrow. It's not going to do it the day after tomorrow. But over the longer period of time, it will get back up there to where I'll break even, or I'll even be ahead, if I add more to that position, which I'm still looking to add more to that position. Yes, definitely use more indicators. So I forget who asked me what I use, and I don't load everything up on here. But when I am trading, I do have a couple of things that are loaded up. But the main things you guys should really be looking at is, candlesticks, have an EMA or an SMA, volume, RSI, MACD. Those are really the core things that anybody new coming onto this market, or really any market, should be really focusing on, and not be focusing on a bunch of other things that might cloud their judgment or might completely just overcomplicate what you should be looking at. Yes, you can build upon other things, looking at the Fibonacci retracements, but you got to start somewhere basic. But yeah, never use one indicator. Never. Don't do that. You're basically, I don't know, buying with being blindfolded. Yeah, I don't recommend that at all. And it seems like I got to refresh the chat because it keeps freezing up on me. So hopefully I don't miss any more comments. But let's see, 300 bucks. At least that's what it's at on Bitfinex. Now when we talked about this earlier, now the price has been higher on GDAX. So I don't know if any of you guys had the opportunity to take advantage of arbitrage. But then the only issue that you have if you do arbitrage to GDAX is that then you're kind of stuck on GDAX, because you don't really want to buy it on GDAX and then transfer it to Bitfinex where Bitfinex is cheaper. That kind of defeats the purpose of arbitraging it. There has to be, price swings, and the price swing is there, between Bitfinex and GDAX, as well as Gemini too. Gemini and Bitfinex have been somewhat similar. It's just GDAX that's been a lot higher. And I don't know if a lot of people are arbitraging, because if they were arbitraging from Bitfinex and selling on GDAX, the price action will be completely different. There'd be a lot more buying going on GDAX. I'm sorry, a lot more buying going on Bitfinex than there is on GDAX. On GDAX would be a lot more selling. So I would assume that the price would be higher and be going up until the price kind of stabilized between both exchanges, and then there is no opportunity for arbitrage at that time. But I'm not seeing that at all. I'm really not seeing it, and I'm seeing what was BTC, especially BTC. This is a one-day candlestick. So we got to really the low that it has really, ever since the drop happened on Friday, really it only got to a low of, that can't be right, 42.42. That was really the low that it kind of got to. And the low on Bitfinex was 3,900. That was a low that it basically set. Well, let me take a look and see when that was. I think that was today, actually. Rocky Mountain, it's not all the time. It's not all the time. I've arbitraged in the past, and I've done a video on arbitrage, and at one point, yes, it was, and then it kind of started to stabilize. I didn't do any arbitrage then because it wasn't worth it at all. It was pretty steady. Off by a couple bucks here and there, but not this much of a fluctuation that we're seeing now, to be honest with you. So it hasn't always been there, but it's starting to get back to the way it was, where GDAX and Gemini were a lot higher than Poloniex and Bitfinex. Really, even Gemini right now, it's cheaper. It's cheaper to buy. Let me log in, or not log in, but I haven't logged into Gemini in a long time. What the price difference is. But yeah, BTC was basically the same price as it was on Bitfinex. There was no change at all. So last price 43.20. It got to a low of 4,012 bucks. So it didn't breach 4,000, but it got pretty close to it. So the price has been pretty much the same, to be honest with you, off by a little bit between Bitfinex and Gemini. But GDAX has been a lot higher. So where was that 3,900 bucks? When did that hit? That was actually today, but let's look at this a little better so we can actually get the exact time that it was on there, or the exact time that it actually hit.
I can't connect to your Wi-Fi. Setup instructions in the help section of your Alexa app.
Yeah, Alexa's starting to talk. I haven't hooked up to my Wi-Fi in a while, but let's see. But yeah, I think that was actually this morning that it hit that 3,900 bucks, or maybe early this morning, last night maybe. But yeah, for it to hit 3,900 bucks and have basically, a price difference of 3 to 400, that's huge. That is huge. $300. So that was the difference there, Henry. That's awesome, man. That is awesome. What was the transfer time? Because I don't think you were on earlier when I asked if anybody's been arbitraging because of the price difference. What was the transfer time like? But yeah, to make $300 within a matter of minutes, as long as the transfer time is there, it's perfect, you know? But then you're kind of stuck on GDAX. That's the only thing that sucks. You couldn't buy on GDAX and then try to attempt to transfer it to a different exchange because more than likely that other exchange is going to be a lot less. So then you're kind of stuck trading within GDAX. And as long as this chart will load, see it hit 3,900 bucks. Okay, during the downfall. Yeah, so yeah, recently, yeah, it's been, I haven't seen this much of a gap, to be honest with you. The difference is huge. And the whole time I'm thinking like, man, I wish I had more of my funds on Bitfinex. Because I would have definitely arbitraged that for, $300 to $400 difference in a heartbeat. And I would have sold it right away. I wouldn't have held on to it on GDAX. But yeah, it all depends on the transfer time. If the transfer gets hung up somehow, some way, then yeah, that sometimes it could be an arbitrage failure. But with with $300, $400 gap, more than likely, yeah, it's not going to be a failure because it's not going to even out. More than likely you'll still be ahead. Just the profit that you would have made before the transfer might just dwindle a little bit. I don't think this chart wants to load for me. Does not want to load. So a little bit of some sort of a latency issue. Okay, there we go.